Excellent.
Hello.
Hi.
TLC. Live at
6:30.
6:30.
Yay.
Yeah. All right. So we're getting to business because we did not have a topic until just a moment ago when my rockin' client, who is amazing and putting into action everything, is super wicked impressive and honor to work with this person. What came out of the session, one of the things, hey Judy.
Hi, Judy.
Mwah. And one of the things that came out of the session happened to be about the conscious belief that we all seem to have generally, that our emotions are the power. Like we don't have any power over our emotions. That, when you're in a funky mood, you are a victim. You are what? You're subject to that mood, right? You have no idea even what you're going to hit the waves. Andrea! Okay, so here's the thing. Love this topic because the whole first module of our course on Cage Your Emotions is all about how to be in your emotions and why on earth, thanks for the like, why on earth do you even care about your emotions and why should you actually pay attention to them? Because guess what we're taught in society? Push them away, shove them away, numb them away.
No emotion.
None. Logic is key. Because guess what? We don't know is that we are bottom up thinkers. So that means this part is the primitive part of our brain. And yeah, I am amped up and I'm going to geek out a little bit.
Here it comes.
Hang in there with me. You're going to have to bring in the humor.
It's really super cool.
You're going to have to lighten it up. Okay. Because this part, we get an emotional, hey Meg, we get an emotional hit. Okay, you look at something, it reminds you of something. Somebody says something with that particular tone and it just sets you off. Well, it's because it is from your senses, sight, smell, hearing, any of your touch, any of your senses comes into the lower part of your brain, the limbic part of your brain. And then it starts the cascade of behaviors and it keeps also, this is super cool. Our brain will scan the environment to make sense of why we feel the way we feel. And if it doesn't see something that makes sense, it's going to start to scan for all of the moments that we have felt that way. You ever go down a spiral? You ever notice where you're pissed and then all of a sudden you just start thinking of all the things that have pissed you off? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or maybe you feel unjust. And then you just start, all of a sudden you're like, and this moment was unjust, and you just get amped up. It's this automatic reaction, and our brain is doing it because we're trying to figure it out so we can be safe. It's a primitive move that would have worked back when we needed to scan our environment all the time and hold in our memory safety things. But what it does is it keeps us stuck in a ruminating pattern. Because once we have that emotional hit that we scan and now we're in all of the thoughts, it keeps that same crappy emotion going. So guess what? You're not a victim to that. You can change that. We think that, oh my God, we're in a bad mood. And I even do that, right?
Yes, but at least you speak to it and you know you are, and then that's different. But if you go to it and then don't speak to it and you just are that and think that you can be acting like having bad behavior because you're in a funky mood, that's not okay.
And it's also not okay that you think that you're stuck to be in that funky mood.
Yeah.
Jordan, good to see you, darling.
Yeah.
Mwah. John says you're the best. Thanks, Andrea. Y'all are the best. Okay, so just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean you have to stay there. And this isn't about just leapfrogging or meditating your way into something else. For some people that works. Awesome. Mm-hmm. For most people, if you have an emotional trigger and you're feeling funky, mad, sad, unjust, whatever it is, there's two things you can do. One, And this is what we talk about in the first module. One is sit in your emotion. So what does that mean? That means feel it, notice it. Notice the sensation. What does funky feel like for you? What does pissed feel like for you? What does, right? So is it like energy in your chest? Is it pit in your stomach? And then ask yourself, what does that sensation need? What does the pit in my stomach need right now? Oh, I need to go get a breath of fresh air. All right, well, do it. If you ask what your need is and you actually do it, you're going to be amazed because you will feel a change of state. It is that easy in the sense of what you can do. It is challenging for sure to be in our emotion, to give it any more space than it already has when it first comes up, right? Because we want to just shift it and be happy or whatever. The second thing you can do is say you've been in that space and it's continuing on and you're feeling funky. Notice the thoughts. Notice when you've now scanned and you're like, well, this time it was shitty and this time it was shitty. And this is a really big one for love relationships. Yeah, well, they never do this and they never do that. And if they would only do this, then I would feel better. Notice the thoughts. Hey, Christine, notice the thoughts and just be like, oh, there's my brain scanning again. That's what it's supposed to do. And then the next thing is remember a time that was amazing for you. So like on our ride today, that would be one of my times. And it's not just to remember it, right? So whether it's like fishing or riding or kayaking, riding your horse, Jordan, you imagine the feeling of it, the smells in the air. You put yourself back in that moment. Because it's not enough just to think different thoughts. You need to actually experience something differently. And what we know about our brain is we can trick it. If we visualize well enough, so have all of our senses pulling up that memory again, sight, auditory, temperature, what clothing were we wearing, what smell do we remember, was there a breeze on our face, all of those pieces, if we put ourselves back there, then we have an experience and our brain actually thinks we're doing it. You will notice that you will feel differently. You again will have changed your state. Okay, I'm done with my soapbox.
No, that's well done.
I'm like, oh my God, people get this. Let this video go viral. Just do it.
So, okay, so would you do this if it's just like a little thing? Like, I think it's for when you introduced this to me like a year ago. I remember just even trying to be aware of my emotions was the first step. I had really no clue.
Mm-hmm. Which most of us don't.
Right? And that to have emotion is okay too. And I think that's what I'm noticing now is how we have set ourselves up to fail in that apparently and all girls and women are allowed to cry, all men and boys are not, kind of thing, right? Like that emotional thing. Or that we think it's a bad thing to show feeling.
Mm-hmm. You had a question at the start of that.
I kind of did. Now I forgot it because I started on my own little soapbox.
I love it. I think your question was something about when do we do it? Like, do you do it on a small emotion?
Yeah,
thing?
like yeah. And then I think I kind of answered it myself because it's more of a, I'm really mad right now, and it is just about being aware of that emotion.
So I hear you also saying acknowledging. Right? So awareness is what a lot of us have. A lot of us have the awareness. Like we can be like, oh, I'm pissed. There is a level of awareness, but the acknowledgement of it where we're actually saying, oh, I feel, right? Whatever it is, that's the acknowledgement. And that goes a long way because now we have control. We're like, this is happening. Remember?
Right.
Aw, thanks, Christine. Remember that emotions are simply information. It is information. Just like if I was to like poke a needle in my hand, God, that would hurt. If I was to poke a needle in my hand right now, I would have sensation coming up. Just like when I feel sad, it is sensation. It is my thoughts that have now said, oh, that is sadness, right? I am labeling it now. If I have a needle going in my hand, a sensation, because it's not, I can know what to do with it. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to ask myself, well, what do I need it to feel better? Same thing with sadness, anger. We just need to acknowledge, and then what do I need to feel better? And what does this need? What does this need? What does this sensation need? So even if it's a little one, that's the best ones to, is it the best ones to practice on? Actually, not in the beginning. It's easier when it's a big emotion. Like if there's a big reaction, it's easier to be able to, because if you haven't spent a lot of time noticing your emotions and valuing your emotions, hey, Andrew and Devin, if you haven't spent a lot of time doing that, it's usually the big ones that we'll notice, either big happy or big mad. And to be able to just give yourself the grace to feel it and breathe into it for a moment, and then ask yourself, well, what does mad need right now? What does the sensation of tight or gripping jaw need right now? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I know you've heard this a gazillion times, but is it making sense, peeps? Katrina, good to see you. So ultimately, when do you do this? At the beginning, it's going to be the big emotions to do it. Because if you are listening to thanks for the thumbs, if you're listening to the information, and that's what emotion is, if you're listening to it and then asking yourself, what do I need? You're taking control. You are empowering yourself. You then have the ability to be able to, do what you need. Am I saying the same thing over and over?
Well, and it's good that you are, because I think it's important. It's a good one. This is a really good one.
Yeah, it's fun. I really do. So self-agency. Love that word. 2 words. If you know people in your lives that, are challenged and afraid of emotion, we're raised to be like that, right? We're raised to stay away from it and to think about things. Put your emotions aside. If you know people in your life, please share this video. Obviously, this is the one thing I'm feeling the most passionate about, because I don't often ask. I'm share people. It makes a difference. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It really does.
Yes, self-advocate for yourself, right? It's just, you don't have to succumb to your emotions. There are times absolutely where you're going to feel funky, where you're going to feel sad, and it feels like you're not going to get through it. I get that. It feels like we're not going to get through it because we're not addressing the need that is the reason that there's a feeling.
Can I toss an example? If someone has just passed and someone is so incredibly sad and just cannot see that getting through that.
Yeah.
How does someone get through such sadness where it's just completely debilitating them? They cannot function.
It is the exact same thing. It is asking, what do I need? And in those times, at that incredible depth of loss, it is self-care, really, right? However, it's going to be different for different people. Some people, it might be sleeping. Some people, it might be having people take care of them. Grief is the ultimate of self-care. You will not get through grief until you actually acknowledge the pain that you feel. Of course you do. You've lost the physical connection with someone that was dear to you. Once you acknowledge the pain and the anger and all of the different emotions that come up, and you meet the needs on a daily basis, you will move through it, and you will move through it a lot faster than the stoicness that we have in our society.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
I love that question. Thank you. Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, that was loud. All right. How was that?
I think really great. Any questions? Anybody?
Let us
Comments?
know.
Yep.
Let us know what you want to hear. I think tomorrow is sex, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the... Let's talk about the power of sex. I think that's how the song goes.
There, yeah, and we should probably get the lyrics or
Couple more
something.
words in there.
Yep, just a few.
Okay. Practice, my sweets. Please go out there and feel your feelings, your sensations, and ask yourself, what do you need? And, don't judge it. One time I was like, what do I need right now? And I needed to go taste bubble gum. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. I totally did the eye roll with myself. But I knew, I'm like, this works. I'm going to go do it. And I went and I put bubble gum in my mouth. And by the time I got that Hubba Bubba chewed up, and my first bubble, I was smiling. And I'm like, oh, this cannot be. It is. So let us know. Let us know what you end up finding. Like, especially if it's a weird one. Like, oh my God, I had to go do blah, blah, blah.
With that voice as well.
Blah, 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 blah.
Totally.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right, my dear.
Okay,
Are we done?
I think we are. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes. Let us know how we may serve. Love y'all. And to all my clients out there, you are freaking rock stars. I love y'all. Woo!
Hi, Robin.
Okay. Mwah.
Mwah. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.